Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Jason Nunez, and let's queer up the USA View. Pride organizations lose as much as 50% of their budgets in 2025 with corporate losses. In 2025, Pride events across the United States are facing staggering budget shortfalls, with some losing up to 50% of their annual funds after a wave of corporate sponsors pulled out. From San Francisco to St. Louis, LGBTQ organizers are scrambling to fill gaps as big-name brands walk away from the very communities they once celebrated. San Francisco Pride lost $200,000. KC Pride in Missouri is also down $200,000. And NYC Pride is trying to raise $750,000 to cover its deficit. Even Anheuser-Busch, which sponsored Pride Fest in St. Louis for 30 years, pulled out, leaving a $150,000 hole. Many of these corporate exits come just as President Donald Trump continues to attack trans rights and dismantle DEI programs. Pride organizers say the timing sends a clear message. One confidential executive director source at a major United States Pride has told Queer News Tonight that their corporate support is down 50% in 2025. Similar reports have been made to other LGBTQ outlets. Suzanne Ford, executive director of the San Francisco Pride, said, quote, "With everything we're facing from the Trump administration, to lose 5 of your partners within a couple of weeks, it felt like we were being abandoned," end quote. Now, even events are cutting costs, fewer stages, cheaper performers, no more free food for volunteers. In New York, spokesperson Chris Piedmont confirmed that about 20% of sponsors, including PepsiCo and Nissan, either reduced or pulled funding entirely. Some companies have returned with anonymous checks, wary of public backlash. Some Pride groups are now actively distancing themselves from companies that abandon DEI. San Francisco Pride cut ties with Meta. Twin Cities Pride cut off Target after it scaled back its diversity commitments. However, in the absence of corporate support, the LGBT community is stepping up. Twin Cities Pride crowdfunded $89,000 to plug a $50,000 hole. San Francisco raised $55,000 from local foundations. Activists point out the problem is even more complex in dealing with cities' support of Pride. Police, fire, and other costs have skyrocketed to put on parades, festivals, and celebrations, and some cities have suggested they have little desire to support community costs. Despite the challenges, Pride is still happening, and it's as political, joyful, and necessary as ever. So Pride, for me, my story, it took a Pride to save my life, because I was served on Don't Ask, Don't Tell. I got out. I was transitioning, reserve life and active duty, and then finding myself. And it was Pride Miami that literally saved my life. It was a random email from a volunteer coordinator that said, "Are you available?" And I said yes. And literally going to that Pride saved my life. So this Pride, or Prides in general, mean the world to me, literally life-saving event. And we as a community need to come together. Yeah. It very much sucks that these corporate people are trying to hide behind anonymous checks, and cash donations and all this other kind of buffoonery to not have their name out there. But it also takes us as a community, and us as a Chamber of Commerce are actively involved with Stonewall Pride, Pride Fort Lauderdale, Pride Fete, Miami Beach Pride, West Palm Beach Pride, because it takes us as our community to support our own. Yeah. And even though there's so many cuts and it's coming from above, there is also support from our own community, whether it's the small businesses or the individual donors that have similar stories to mine where Pride saved a life. Mm-hmm. And I think we need to continue and share that story, and kind of not necessarily boycott these who are no longer supporting us, but just make sure that we know and we have them on check.
Mm. I'm kind of torn on how I feel about these companies, because in some way I feel like some of these companies, like Target, for instance, a lot of people have issues with them. I know they were one of the first that came out to support the LGBT community and to have like trans clothing and to, things like that. And so when they had to scale back, or when they did scale back, I don't know if they had
because
to.
Of fear.
There's fear.
They decided to put us in the back of the store in front of the front. Yeah.
Yeah, which still some stores have nothing with us, Mm-hmm. And so you're kind of torn on, like, do I support some company that has something for us that is kind of trying, or do I just boycott it and go to another store that doesn't even have any kind of display for us, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't fault them for kind of writing these checks anonymously, because, you know, they have a bottom line to deal with as well. They have employees, they have things that they have to deal with as well. And so torn between, like, do we try to keep supporting them so they can get better business, so they can be a little bit more upfront about writing these checks and supporting. So it's always an issue for me if I'm not exactly sure what to do, because you want to put pressure on them to make the right decision, but you also want to understand their positions for it.
Yeah.
So
it's weird.
I don't know.
It's weird because around this month we always talk about rainbow capitalism, right? Or every year we've talked about rainbow capitalism. Yeah. And now here we are, right? We went from the world has taken steps back, okay? Let's be real. That's the reality of it all. And so we went from, I'm not taking your crumbs, I expect the full plate, to now we're like, well, thank you for making a pink shirt that says lesbians are good. You know what I mean? Like, and so I'm with you. It's hard, you know? So maybe some of these prides will go back to the grassroots that they started with, right? Maybe prides became too commercial. Maybe we let too many big companies in on our prides. You know, in New York has one of the biggest prides ever, but every borough has their own pride. New Jersey, every city has their own pride, and they're all just smaller. They're block parties. They're, you know, they don't have the big names, right? But we all show up because we love pride. So, I mean, I have to agree with you. I'm on that fence right now. I want to say F you, but at the same time, all right, you're not being quiet about it. You're not doing anonymous, like, you know. Yeah. I'm a little upset about the anonymous people, too, that it's like, shh, take this check, but don't tell them I gave it to you.
Because, you know, the backlash is so real.
So severe,
and also, the president looks like he's going to be tanking our economy. So if we've got all of these goods from China that are going to be taxed now, then it's like, okay, well, we're going to be in Schitt's Creek in a few months, so we got to save every penny. And also, like it said in the article, like many costs are going up. So the cost of putting on everything is
security has skyrocketed.
I kind of love your idea of like having more grassroots kind of things going on, like that it's not the $50, $100 whatever event, that we have, like, figure out how to have a few more of these things that are kind of neighborhood block party things, and then maybe some of the bigger groups kind of combine together to work together. To try to
put
the
big
on
one.
some, yeah,
to make the big one. You
exactly.
know, Oakland Park Pride is this coming weekend. Small pride, lots of fun, lots of proud people. Like, you know,
William, Naples too.
Please talk to me. Yeah, because I was going to ask you about that.
Our security like tripled over the last few years, even more. And so we did is we put a gala on 5 weeks, a sold out gala, $500 a ticket. And we made a lot of money to make up for that security. So it's not just our community, it's our allies that are rallying around us. So we have to not forget our allies for all this too.
Let me ask you a question, Will. So New York Pride has a deficit of $750,000. That's almost $1 million, right? San Francisco Pride, $200,000 deficit. How much does it cost to put on a Pride of that caliber, or a Naples Pride, like approximately?
I mean, security alone is maybe $40,000, $50,000 for us, and we're a small little Pride center, so it's a lot part of our budget. And this is how we make our money
for the year,
for the center. Yes. This is our big thing. So it really digs into our budget. So we can't give all the services we want to give to our people anymore. So it's really important to donate. And you can go online to any one of these centers and get a ticket, even if you live in Chicago, and you donate to San Francisco or New York City. $10 is $100 is $1,000 is $10,000. Everybody keeps doing that, so we can help make up these deficits by just donating $5 or $10 each one of these communities.
All right, every little bit helps.
Yeah, but this makes us we want to stand up together and fight.
Get y'all rich retired friends to donate money. They spending money on men to spend the night. They got a couple $1,000s to throw towards these events. I ain't gonna say no names, but if it gets you to donate, I will. Please donate to these events. If we're gonna keep it amongst us, we need to donate towards us. There's a lot of well-to-do homosexuals, a lot of well-to-do trans people, a lot of well-to-do lesbians, a lot of well-to-do everybody on the queer spectrum that have the ability to donate and just haven't done so yet. I'm not on the fence about Target. I've said how I felt about Target a while ago. they were using us for sales, and then when they got pushback, they threw us away. And that's how I feel. They're not like Ben and Jerry's where they actually stand 10 toes down on their morals. That man got arrested like a couple days ago because he meant what he felt. But yeah, if we're going to keep it amongst the family, get your rich friends. I don't care if you got a blackmail. I don't care if you got to hit them. I don't care. Get their money. Get them to get their money and donate to us. Keep it amongst ourselves if it goes that far. And there are a lot of rich, gay, retired, homosexual men on Wilton Drive alone. If they stay on that little high rise above a business, they got money. So they can throw it down. I don't know where you live, but get your
Why
friends.
you looking at Willie? Why you looking at Will?
Is demographic. Get your friends to throw their money down to the street so that we can collect it and have bigger and better events.
Well, instead of buying that $20 shirt at Target, go to local gay vendor.
Yeah,
and
donate $20 to them. Go to Palm Beach Pride. Go to Naples Pride. Go to any of these prides. Go to Oakland Park Pride this coming weekend, and every little bit helps. And that is the big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.